Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan,
And I'm Jack.
and we hope you are all enjoying the World Cup, but are ready to come back to some lacrosse. I know Rabel's a big soccer guy. I do wonder if this bye week was at least partially because it was the opening of the World Cup, and he knew. I mean, people are going to be watching it regardless, but especially I feel like those first couple of games, people would just really want to be locked in and take it all in.
I had not thought of that at all, to be honest, because I was so confused as to why that they had the random league
Yeah,
wide bye there, especially just a couple weeks after the Memorial Day, which made so much sense. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the case, to be
yeah,
honest. And you know what? I don't hate it because I got World Cup fever. The US game on Friday night was absolutely
awesome.
electric. So I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah. Um, And I know there's like Team USA tryouts too, but it feels like that's scheduled around the PLL probably rather than the other way around. Um,
True, but like it also they it's sort of, but they I think officially start were June 7th to June 9th, so it was Sunday to Tuesday. So if they were really gonna like be courteous with the PLL, it would have been like Tuesday to Thursday or
oh,
something
that's
like
true.
that. Like there were guys that literally played Saturday night and then had to be granted it was in Charlotte, so they didn't have to travel. So I think that that part was
Yeah,
certainly a coordinated effort. The guys didn't have to travel to a different city, but I can't imagine having to go to tryouts the day after a game.
I know. It might also just be to try to limit the amount of time they have to take off work or something too. Um,
That too.
yeah, to talk about just to bring the World Cup back into it for a second, the World Cup final is at the exact same start time that the Cannons play the Atlas in Fairfield. And I know I'm going to that game in person. Uh, which is I mean, I just can't imagine I won't know the results by the time that I get back to my friend's house, and certainly by the time I get home. So, Paul, I am begging you. I know you're a soccer guy. Please move the game to 1 p.m. Let me watch both.
Yeah, I love the Cannons, but I might not. I think there's a high likelihood that I don't watch that game.
Yeah, I can't. If it's maybe
Honestly,
like,
like even this tomorrow's game, I'm going to be brutally honest. Like I'm going to FIFA Fan Fest for the US game tomorrow, so I'm going to be cutting it real close coming back home for this Cannons game.
yeah, that one I think we're watching down the street because there's a brewery that's like expanding their hours the whole World Cup and like even extra for the US games. But we're going like as soon as the Cannons game's over, we're heading out to watch Haiti, Brazil on the Common, which I just
Oh, that's sick.
and given the like the huge communities of both those countries here, I think that's gonna be fire.
Yeah. The Scots taking over the city has been
Yeah,
phenomenal.
we could hear their watch party from our apartment, like a quarter mile away.
I believe it. I mean, I see kilts every time I leave my
Yeah.
apartment. And even if they're not in kilts, they're in jerseys, and it's wild to me that like I so rarely see a soccer jersey out and about that's not a Scotland jersey. Like that's the wildest part for me that you would expect to see like the obviously the US, but the France or Mbappe, Messi, like the big names. But no, it's just all Scotland. Like the all of the news, oh, Scotland's taking over Boston, like it's 100% factual, and I'm completely here for it.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom earlier today, and she's like, "Have you spoken to a Scottish person yet? It just seems like they're everywhere." And I was
I
like,
got the same conversation with my parents last night.
"Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
all right."
Anyways,
Yeah, I'm
we
sure we will talk
digress.
about the World Cup again before it's over, but we are here to talk about lacrosse. Um, although, man, if lacrosse ever gets a fraction of the fever that this World Cup is getting, we'll be in a very good place.
That's true.
So let's see. The Cannons take on the Atlas in New York in what, Hempstead, technically Long Island, Hofstra.
Yeah.
Um, some pretty big stories to keep in mind, to be aware of. Let's start with the biggest negative. Well, actually, let's start with the negative from the women's side as well. So, as we maybe suspected, I don't think we mentioned this in our other podcast or whatever our last one was before this, but Charlotte North did officially tear her Achilles. She's gotten surgery on it, so she's going to be gone, obviously, for the rest of this year. One assumes for Champ Series as well. Um, and then two other injuries we don't know the severity of yet, but Matt Campbell and Trevor Baptiste got hurt during those aforementioned Team USA tryouts, and so they have both been placed on the PUP list and will be out at least the next 2 weeks. And then there's the All-Star game after that, so it is nice. It's obviously not a bye, but gives them a little bit of extra rest. Um, Jack, which of those injuries do you think is more important to their team's success? Obviously, both teams at 1 and 3, not where they want to be in the standings, but who does this hurt more?
I mean, I think it's the Baptiste injury has to, excuse me, be a bigger blow for New York. Just like you said, both teams are 1 and 3 and are struggling. New York is struggling because, they don't have teeth. The offense is sputtering. And so Baptiste is your cheat code to getting the ball on offense. And so you got to imagine without Baptiste, they're going to have way fewer possessions. And so for a team that is struggling already because their offense can't score, you give them the ball that much less often. It's not a recipe for success there.
Yeah. You did a good job to sway me there. I was leaning Matt Campbell for sure before this. You know, Andrew McMeekin obviously impressed us pretty well in his first career game in Charlotte. Definitely still assumed. I mean, you go into every game Baptiste is in assuming he's going to win the majority of faceoffs, but the Cannons have just not kind of on both ends of the field, but especially like in that game against Philly, they couldn't their offense couldn't do much of anything. And he's supposed to be like that party starter. So yeah, hopefully if McMeekin's winning 80% of the faceoffs, then I feel great about the Cannons having enough opportunities at least to get enough goals to win. But um, we're going to be asking obviously Mikey Weissar to step up, McKelly to step up, and he's stepped up this year. But it's going to be just kind of everyone bumps up where Weissar is definitely getting the pull when he's on the field, and when he's not on the field, that bumps down to someone else who maybe would be better suited as a second or third option, but now kind of has to be first or second. Um, yeah, but I don't know. We still got to play the game, right?
Yeah.
So we will see. I guess, Jack, I hope you're right.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely a blow to not have Campbell and reigning midfielder of the year, and so maybe it's just me trying to look on the positive side from a Cam's perspective, not to throw shade on, be like, it just when you lose your face off, man, especially someone at the level of Baptiste versus losing your top midfielder, it those two things don't like one of these is not like the other. Like to be completely honest, like other guys theoretically could pick up some of the slack of Campbell. That no one is as dangerous, but maybe that is a good thing that you don't know who the ball is going through and you can share that burden that when there's so much more riding on Campbell when he is on the field, but when you don't have Baptiste, like I don't even know who, I mean, we've got the
Nathan LaLiver.
rosters here. Yeah, Nathan, okay. I saw last. Um,
Yeah,
he so he's not, I can't he's not going to be as good as Baptiste. I feel comfortable in saying that.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. I'm trying to pull up his game logs from this year because Baptiste was on the pup list when the season started. I do remember in Rhode Island, um, he won like 62% of the faceoffs, but LaSalle had 3 goals, so that kind of cancels that out. Um, but I am trying to see his just kind of, I mean, of course it's tough to know from McMeekin after one game. All right, so he played 2 games, 42.9 and then 63.6. He's at 52 for the year. Um,
All right.
I mean, I still think advantage McMeekin, given how he played against Connor Farrell, winning 2/3 of those faceoffs after Farrell had basically gone 60+% every game.
hmm
Certainly, I don't expect him to go 80% like I kind of jokingly said earlier, but um, well, yeah, let's just assume and hope that that he's gonna do similarly well, at least against La Liberty. Um, all right, and then we got some new faces and a little bit of restructuring um, in the roster. So as we mentioned, obviously no Campbell. So we get Ty Kurtz return to the lineup after having only played in the first game of the year against the Chaos, and then we get the PLL debut of Jack Regneri, the Tufts legend. Am I correct that they got a three-peat
Yes.
in Tufts? Yeah. So he comes from a obviously a very, very successful background in college where I believe he was primarily attack
hmm
his last couple of years. So we'll see how comfortable he is coming out of the box. I confess I'm not able to watch as much D3 lacrosse as I would like, and I also went to a conference rival of Tufts, so it is a little bit tough for me to root for them, even though they're far and away the best D3 school, obviously over the last 3 years. But Jack, what do you expect or what do you hope to see out of Jack?
I mean, I'm excited to see what he looks like. We saw already a good debut from Weishar coming down in the midfield. Yeah, D3 to PLL is quite the jump. So uh, it'll be interesting to see how quickly he's able to adjust to the speed of the PLL. Kyle Lewis came out of D2
Yep.
last time out against us and obviously seemed to fit right in. So it certainly can be done to come from a non-D1 level and immediately make an impact. And maybe there's a little bit of a guys don't know you kind of
Yeah.
thing there that it's tougher to scout a D2 or a D3 guy. So Bears watching to see if Kyle Lewis keeps it up over the rest of the season, but certainly hoping for a little bit of what we saw from Kyle Lewis just being a spark plug and going out there and lighting it up just like he did at Tufts his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, a couple thoughts based on that is I totally agree with like the guys don't know you. I think that gives him a really good advantage. Now, I mean, won 3 national championships. I assume, especially with the bye week, that Pressler and the other coaches have taken the time to see his highlight tapes. I do know that Tufts plays really fast. Just as a team, like they really move the ball and push. Which obviously given the much faster shot clock in the PL, that definitely gives him um, a big, hopefully an advantage. Um, Oh, and another thing about the guys don't know you is there's unfortunately a pretty embarrassing clip from the Cannons Water Dogs game where Colin Curse shouts out righty as Kyle Lewis is starting to dodge. He splits and just stings a goal lefty on the run. Um,
Oh.
so I'm hoping we get a moment like that for Jack Regneri. I think assuming the pace of the game just isn't too fast for him, which I don't think it'll be. Or I mean, maybe it will be faster than he's used to, but I think he'll be able to adjust to it. Um, I do expect 1 or 2 games, hopefully it's this one, where he really pops off for maybe like 3, 4 goals. It's just a question of we see this in a lot of sports. Is like once teams adjust to him, how does he make those adjustments to compensate? Um,
Mhm.
but I think as long as he plays well enough to stay in the lineup, I think we're gonna see one or two games this year where he really impresses. Um, Maybe in contrast, don't really think I noticed Logan Ip at all in his PLL debut in Charlotte.
Yeah, I didn't I kind of went away from that take, but where I was starting it with the White Shard take of him popping off in his first game and looking good was the other side of a MIDI debut for us. Logan
Yeah,
Ip hasn't really done much, so we've kind of seen I guess I shouldn't say both ends of the spectrum because it's not like Logan Ip was horrendous and Weichar was rookie of the year, but we've definitely seen two different levels. So either could happen
yeah,
with Regnery. Certainly hope it's more of the Weichar mold
yeah.
or even better.
I do think he's going to be asked to do more probably than
Mhm.
Logan was because as we mentioned with Campbell out, everyone's got to step up. So you figure
Yeah.
if Weissar is comfortable like being that initiator, and of course, like Brian Kelly and Coulter Maxey are going to do a lot of that party starting as well, one would think. But if we want to start dodging from the midfield, it's going to be Weissar. Maybe it's going to be Regnery, because the other O guys listed, Ty Kurtz is more of a finisher. Mick Kelly can dodge, but he's not. I don't know. He's not necessarily like a one option. Though as we mentioned, he's done great this year. And then Graydon Hogg is. I would say he's maybe most similar to like actually don't know. Feels like he's a little bit of do everything where he's just not the first option to dodge or the first option to like finish, but he's stuck around and I think he's a good like fifth midi, fourth midi option. Um, One other change, a name that we have not mentioned is the Cursed family. Obviously, Colin's still in the roster, but Connor switching to D mid, or at least he's listed as a D mid this week, and no Jeff Trainer in the lineup. I know he had tweaked something earlier in the year. Don't know if that has flared up again, or if it's something different, or he's got a wedding to go to, or something.
They're
Um,
just looking for a different
yeah.
lineup from Holman. It could be a lot of things.
Absolutely. He definitely, he is certainly someone who can push in transition like Jeff Trainer can. So maybe that's the logic because, Marquez White is on the protected roster, has not gotten into a game yet this year. So you figure that might have been the opportunity, but maybe they just like what Connor can bring on the offensive side if they want him to stay out. I know he still does play a lot of D even when he's listed as that technically that offensive midi. But I don't really see anyone of those five middies that we've talked about on the O side being able to do that. Maybe McKelly a little bit, but certainly more comfortable on the offensive side versus Connor Kirst.
Yeah, none of these guys strike me as someone that you're going to see staying on the field and going two ways. I
On
think
purpose at
the
least.
three on purpose. Yeah, no, the three D mids are definitely going to be getting their fair share of runs, and because yeah, no one's choosing to stay back on D from the group that uh, Holman is putting out there.
Yeah. I think the only other story from this Cannons lineup is no Asher Nilting in either roster for 3 weeks in a row now,
Yep.
which by PLL rule does make him, I think it's waiver eligible is technically the vocab. And that's actually how the Atlas got Matt Rambo, is he was off the roster for the Whips for
Right.
straight weeks. So
Does someone pick him up next
yeah,
week?
I don't know. We could see that. Um, I haven't prepped this or thought about it at all, but like, off the top of your head, do you think anyone is willing to take a flyer on him? I mean, it's tough because he
Is
really
anyone
plays
willing? Yeah, but like I can't imagine someone's not willing in theory, but when I run down the list of teams, I don't know who would
right.
actually want to take him like in place of someone on their roster.
Yeah, because he really does only play his one position. Like maybe you could have him on the wing instead of at X, but certainly everyone's pretty happy with their X attackman because that's like position number one in the offense that you got to figure out and get a good one.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of the players in the PLL were X attackmen at lower levels and then found other roles when they got to the pros. But like Ryan Drenner, I can't really see Asher Nolting becoming a midfielder like sweeping across out of the box. Um,
No, well, I mean, if he could, I think he wouldn't be in this position.
yeah.
We would see him moving around.
Yeah, I think the only team, I mean, honestly, maybe New York gives it a go. If, just because their offense has also had issues. Um, I'm not sure. I know Asher had said to us there's some players on New York that maybe aren't his biggest fans, so that could be a tough locker room ad. Um, the only other team, they've struggled to score a lot up until their most recent game. Maybe Utah would want to try it out. Um, but they got Fields who would play X. Who else is listed as attack for them? O'Keefe and I think King, who also obviously played X
Sam
in
King.
college.
Yeah,
But he also had some success out of the midfield. So, but then they also have one fewer offensive spot if they're running because they're running those four D mids. So, um,
right.
yeah, I don't know. It's tough to like envision where else he fits. I mean, he also like they've pushed him as like one of the he's been one of the faces of the Boston Cannons for the last 3 years. So
Yeah.
it's weird to see how quick the shift has happened. I don't think it's the wrong choice necessarily. Um, and certainly I hope Brian Kelly keeps playing specifically as well as he played in his first game against Philadelphia, but well enough to show that he still deserves that spot. Um, yeah, it's
I
a
mean, up to this point, he hasn't. To your point of the Asher Nolting being a face of the Boston Cannons, Matt Rambo was the face of the
yeah.
Whip Snakes, and then he didn't play, and now he's in New York.
Hmm.
So crazier things have happened than Asher Nolting going somewhere else. I mean, Pat Cav's still hurt, right?
He did come back last week. That would be so
Oh,
if
no,
he
he
was.
came back, but now Bernhardt's hurt. I'm just thinking of the Denver, Colorado
Yeah.
hometown connection. Is that something that Tim Sudan entertains? I mean, Bernhardt, if he's gonna be out, do you put Pat Cav at midfield and have Asher play X?
I mean, considering that was the reason he got traded to Denver, I don't think you can do that. Uh,
Oh, you're so right. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, Brennan O'Neill came out of the box uh, for the US and
Yeah.
the
He's also a lefty, as is Wisnauskas. Um, yeah, I can't. I mean, it's like it always maybe it seems impossible until it happens. But like you're not taking like for the Redwoods, Chris Cav and I mean Mikey Bames played better than Garnsey. Maybe there's and then Dylan Malloy on the right. Like if Dylan Malloy gets hurt, the Redwoods might take a shot because they do play a little bit of a similar style, just in terms of being big
yeah,
and bruising. I think Dylan Malloy, I'm not saying he's a better passer, but I think the ball doesn't get stuck in his stick as long as it got stuck in Asher's stick.
yeah.
Um,
Well, also you said it if he gets hurt. I mean,
yeah,
no one
we're
ever
not hoping for
plans
that.
for an injury, but like he's not hurt.
Right. Yeah, that's probably the biggest or like if Schellenberger or Dixon weren't available for some stretch of time, we'll say yeah. Basically, I can't really see Asher getting picked up by another team unless someone gets hurt or unless someone just really starts not playing well. Um, but I mean, like the Whips have
Yeah,
five
no,
Jackman, the Outlaws, we mentioned that's not going to happen.
no one needs him right now.
Yeah.
There's
Uh,
no obvious fit for him.
yeah, and it's weird to think of like that his tenure with the Cannons might be over, especially with how that'll end. Like, 5 turnovers. what was it? He did have 3 assists, I think. So it's not like the worst game ever, but like if that's really it, like what
It
a
certainly wasn't a good way to go out.
yeah, what an ignominious end that would be to use an SAT word.
Yeah, that yeah, man. It I don't know.
Um,
He almost won the MVP just a few years ago, and now
yeah,
he can't even crack a lineup and is on waivers for essentially,
yeah.
or is
Well,
waiver
I mean,
eligible.
I guess of course, like maybe Brian. Again, not helping this. Maybe Brian Kelly gets hurt. And
And he
he
goes back in. Yeah.
yeah. All right, we've spent an awful lot of time talking about the Cannons. Of course, we were hoping to get our Stampede friends
As
on.
we should.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying we did anything wrong by it, but there is another team playing in this lacrosse game. So let's see. Brian Costabile out last week for paternity leave. Congratulations to him and his wife for their new daughter. He's back. Matt Rambo plays his second game with the Atlas, wearing number 11, which still looks weird. Um, I still don't understand why they didn't put Levi Anderson down at midfield because this exact same thing happened in 2024. Is they had the Whips had Matt Rambo, he wasn't playing well. They put Levi Anderson down there. He won the playoff game against New York, playing the lefty attack spot. The Atlas pick up Anderson. He did play great his first game with 7 points, and then they pick up Rambo to take that spot instead. I don't quite understand it. Um, but hey, as long as it makes the Atlas worse, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I guess what are you just to talk about him because we mentioned him a couple times now is what are your expectations for or about or from whatever preposition you want to use Matt Rambo against the Cannons this weekend or today as you're listening to this.
My expectations, not very high, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
He was obviously great career at Maryland. The first couple years of the PLL, he was a beast, but there's a reason that he was waiver eligible. I think that he is old and washed at this point. It's interesting. I was listening to Felger and Maz today, and Maz's tears this week. The question was athletes who hung on too long, and it was inspired by Ronaldo looking
Oh yeah.
like an old bum yesterday for Portugal. And as they're listing them off, I was literally sitting there thinking, who would I say for a lacrosse player? And the only name that I could really come up with was John Grant Jr., just for the fact that he played until he was like in his mid 40s. Like he wasn't crap at the end, but it's like he couldn't move. And
Yeah.
so it's like you probably should have retired by now, John. Matt Rambo. Matt Rambo might be a good answer for that question. I think it might be time for him to hang him up.
Yeah. I think so. And we've seen like it's such a youthful sport, and I think primarily the reason is it's still not everyone's full-time job, and it's just really hard to stay a professional athlete in elite shape and compete with 22-year-olds when you're 32, and you also have like a successful real estate business. Shout out to
Yep.
Michael Earhart, um, who did not hold on too long. He was still good, and then he lost
Very
the
true.
championship, and he was done. Yep. Um, Yeah, he slimmed down a lot relative to 2019, 2020. Like I think he looks a little bit more mobile, which is, good to see, good for him. Um, I'm excited. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be either Hunter Smith or Owen Grant on him. Just depends on if they want like the lefty lefty matchup or righty lefty. Um, but especially if it's Hunter Smith and it's like a rookie, I'm very excited to see like that exact thing that we just talked about of like a 31 or 32, however old he is, versus a guy just out of college who Coach Holman told us like they wanted to let Hunter like go be a hunter, right? Like be an animal, go get the ball, like go impose his will. Um, and that feels like unless I mean, obviously, an Owen Grant too. I mean, he's just enormous. If we've all seen him in real life. He's a big dude and can push around basically everyone in the league. Um, so whoever they feel the best matchup, maybe probably for Schellenberger is where you start. Whether it's Keelty is like usually that type of player, or maybe it'll be Smith if he's a little bit more fleet of foot. But um, yeah, would whoever gets that Rambo matchup, it feels like that's going to be a fun one to watch, just to hopefully like eliminate him from the game and um, you know just kind of put it all on Schellenberger or Constantine. Um, let's see. Other concerns. Danny Logan back. Obviously, he's the fifth pole out there. Um, he's like a that does make things tough, especially without Campbell. If Whitestar's getting Carpenter or Robbins, and then you have Ranieri or maybe, I don't know, maybe Ranieri needs to earn that matchup, but Nick Kelly or someone trying to dodge Danny Logan, that is a tough task. Um, and and then you got Brett Makar, who I would say is the early front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Um, Not sure if and then, their rookie defender as well, Alex Ross. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what the attack defense matchups are going to be on that end of the field. Do you have any like?
I don't
Yeah.
honestly. I'm looking. I'm flipping back and forth between these rosters, trying to draw those matchups in my head, and I really have no clue.
Yeah, I can't remember
Like,
like who would have done it before. And obviously they had Adler now. I don't know if they would want to just keep those other two the same and plug Ross where Adler would have been, but um
yeah,
I mean they're all pretty big. I guess it's just who you figure Mackesy and Kelly will be doing more of the dodging, and just who's maybe most comfortable playing behind the goal.
yeah.
Feels like we're gonna see Makar and Mackesy. I feel like Makar usually takes the lefty. Um, and then that would leave, I feel like maybe Ross on the X and Rexroad then on Holman. But I don't know. I mean, because Holman's also like his feet are just moving all the time. I know Rexroad's like a big guy. I don't know how fleet of foot he is. Not in shame, obviously. And then you have the LSM. You have Cannon's legend John Robbins, who was like signed in November and released in February, I think, or April, without ever playing for the Cannons, and then got picked up by the Atlas, obviously. Um, so I don't know what any of those conversations were like. I thought it happened with Colby Bars too because he was in like dental school. Um, so I thought maybe he had some other life thing he wanted to do. Clearly not. Maybe it was just a contingency, like if Owen Grant, if the Vancouver Warriors went on a deep playoff run, which they did not. Or if it was if they weren't going to be able to draft the guys that they wanted to draft. Although I feel like he was released before the draft, so I don't remember. But I don't know, maybe he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I know he flashed for one really good year with the Archers and then kind of struggled to find a roster spot after that, but they've always had such good defenses, the Archers. Um, I don't know. All right, so let's maybe wrap things up here. Two down and out teams. The Cannons are ahead on goal differential. But the Atlas, on the other hand, have two chances to kind of right the ship. So even if they lose against Boston, they can. It's an uphill task, but they can win against Maryland to try to put themselves in a better spot. And then on the other hand, right, if whatever team loses, especially if the Cannons lose, that goal differential might flip. Obviously, they'd be a game behind in the win column. Um, but I don't. If the Atlas lose this game, I know like the first 4 weeks of the year that the team is that's played twice has won the second night. This feels like a really tall task if the Atlas don't beat the Cannons to then turn around and beat the Whipsnakes, who have looked like the best team in the league so far. Um, Especially with them struggling to score like they have. And maybe this defense is the one to try to get right on because it's been the issue again. But yeah, let's close with result and score predictions, and then I'll give mine, and we'll turn it over to the players.
Yeah. Oh man. Looking at the lineups and just the thinking about this game, it doesn't feel like a good offense game, but at the same time, I don't know if it's necessarily a defensive masterclass.
Yeah,
So like
it's a turnover heavy game, I think we'll say.
it is.
Missed
It's
passes, drop passes, things like that.
but I'm struggling like that leads me to think that I think the loser will definitely be in the single digits.
Yeah,
But like I don't know if I can predict both teams going under 10 goals. That just that feels too low to predict that. So I think what I'm gonna go with is 11-9 cannons.
I was gonna say 10-9 cannons. I think it's gonna be tight. I do think your point about the cannons getting the majority of the possession is gonna hold out. Um, I think hopefully, we'll say some of the Atlas players that have not had the seasons that maybe we expected from them. Hopefully that stuff's gonna hold true. Yeah, I think if it continues, Brian Cosby's got dad strength now, but if it continues where he's kind of their best player and like their biggest threat, I like the Cannons' chances a lot. Um, it also like I feel like I think the Regneri's the only debut, but basically every week this season there's been like a new player in the lineup, so it is hard to get that continuity and know what to expect week to week. Um, but I think this lineup, maybe those exact three D mids haven't played together because I know they've changed some things in and out there. Um, but if it's the Atlas team basically that we've seen so far this year, um, I do like the Cannons' chances to win, even though, holding the Atlas to 9 means this defense has played better than we've seen it play most of the year. But yeah, I'll let a little homerism creep in there.
You have to.
Yeah,
That's our job.
it is. It is. That's why we get paid millions of dollars a year by the PLL to do. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So as you were listening to this on Friday, the Cannons and Atlas play at 6 p.m. We hope you can work that into your World Cup watching. There's not a lot of goals in soccer. Just put that on the phone or laptop or something in the corner and throw this up on
Well,
the
I
TV.
mean I mean, is there even gonna be a game on at that time? I'm sure at some point there will be, but the US play at 3, so they'll probably be done by 5.
Yep.
And this game start okay, Scotland and Morocco is at 6 actually, so
I mean, the Scots will be lit, but
Scots will be lit.
they're no offense to Scotland, they're not going to beat Morocco. So that's one that I understand if you want to visit a bar with the Scottish to enjoy until the drubbing starts, but I think the outcome of Cannon's Atlas is much more uncertain.
I don't know, Morocco?
I mean, they were in the semifinals
Yeah.
4 years
Oh,
ago.
sorry. I thought you said that Scotland was gonna beat
No,
Morocco.
no, no.
Oh, hey, don't be hating on the Scots.
Hey, listen,
All
they
right,
won a game. They're good.
the Scots are gonna go on a run here. That something feels magical about this Scotland team.
I, you know,
U.S. Scotland World Cup final. Book it.
that one, that would be really hard not to watch to go to the Cannons game. I'll be honest. Paul, please move that game up earlier on Sunday. Um, yeah. So, all right, Cannons Atlas Friday at 6. Book it. Cannons are gonna win. Send the Atlas even further into the basement. McMeekin's gonna win 95% of the faceoffs. Jack Ranieri's gonna get a hat trick, and all will be well in the world. Um,
Amen.
yep. Whether all that happens or not, we will be back on Monday to recap it. And until then, go Cannons.
Go Cannons.
Boom.
Boom.